12,000 years old. The ancient temple that proves history is wrong for centuries. The story of human civilization has been linear and logical. We are taught that our ancestors began as simple hunter-gatherers, small bands of nomads who followed herds of animals and foraged for wild plants. Then, roughly 10,000 years ago, a shift occurred. We discovered agriculture. We learned to farm wheat and barley and domesticate animals. This Neolithic revolution allowed us to settle in one place. Once we had a surplus of food and a stable home, we developed religion, society, writing, and finally, monumental architecture. In this standard model, the farm comes first and the temple comes last. It is a tidy, comfortable timeline. But in 1994, a German archaeologist named Klaus Schmidt climbed a dusty hill in southeastern Turkey and found something that blew this timeline to pieces. He found Gobekli Tepe, and what lies beneath that soil suggests that everything we thought we knew about the origins of humanity might be wrong. The site is situated on the Potbelly Hill in the Anatolia region of Turkey. At first glance, it looks like a barren landscape, but beneath the surface lies a complex of stone circles, so vast and so old that it defies explanation. Radiocarbon dating places the construction of Gobekli Tepe at approximately 9,600 BC. To put that into perspective, this site is 6,000 years older than Stonehenge. It is 7,000 years older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. It was built at the very end of the last ice age, a time when humans were supposedly primitive nomads using flint tools and living in temporary shelters. Yet, here stands a cathedral, the sheer scale of the engineering at Gobekli Tepe is the first clue that the history books are missing a chapter. The site consists of multiple circular enclosures. In the center of these circles stand massive T-shaped limestone pillars. These pillars are not small crude rocks. They are monumental monoliths, some standing up to 18 feet tall and weighing roughly 16 to 20 tons. The question that keeps archaeologists awake at night is, how? In 9,600 BC, there were no beasts of burden, no oxen to pull carts, no horses to drag stones. The wheel had not been invented. Metal tools did not exist. The people who built this had only stone tools, wood, and rope. Moving a 20-ton pillar from the nearby quarry to the top of the hill would have required hundreds of men working in perfect unison. It would have required a level of social organization, planning, and logistics that supposedly did not exist in the pre-agricultural world. Not furthermore, the artistic skill displayed on these pillars is breathtaking. Unlike the rough, scratched petroglyphs found in caves from similar eras, the artwork at Gobekli Tepe is high-relief sculpture. The ancient masons did not just scratch the rock. They carved away the background to make the figures pop out in 3D. The pillars are adorned with a terrifying menagerie of predators: lions, scorpions, vultures, spiders, and snakes. There are no scenes of domestic life, no farming, no happy families. It is a somber, perhaps even threatening, gallery of lethal creatures. The T-shape of the pillars themselves is believed to be a stylized representation of the human form. If you look closely, you can see carved arms coming down the sides of the pillars, with hands resting on the belly of the stone, represented by a belt and a loincloth made of fox skin. These are faceless giants, watching over the enclosures in silence. The existence of Gobekli Tepe forces us to consider a radical new theory, that religion came before civilization, before this discovery. Scholars believed that people settled down to farm, and once they had free time, they built temples. Gobekli Tepe suggests the reverse. Klaus Schmidt theorized that the urge to worship, the urge to create a sacred space, was the spark. Hunter-gatherers from vast distances may have gathered here for rituals, but a construction project of this magnitude takes time and energy. You cannot feed 500 workers with wild berries and a lucky gazelle hunt. You need a reliable food source. Therefore, it is possible that the need to feed the builders of Gobekli Tepe forced these nomads to invent agriculture. Roughly 20 miles away from the temple lies the Karakadag Mountain, which geneticists have identified as the place where modern einkorn wheat was first domesticated. The timeline matches perfectly. The temple wasn't built by a civilization. The temple created the civilization. But the mysteries of the site go deeper than just its age. There is the question of the layout. The enclosures are arranged with a geometric complexity that implies a knowledge of mathematics and perhaps astronomy. Some researchers have suggested the pillars are aligned to the constellations, specifically the Cygnus constellation or the star Sirius, acting as a massive stone observatory to track the precession of the equinoxes. If true, this implies that primitive humans possessed a sophisticated understanding of the cosmos, thousands of years before the Babylonians or Greeks. Then, there is the most baffling mystery of all, the burial. Gobekli Tepe was not destroyed by an earthquake. It was not conquered by an invading army. Around 8000 BC, after being in use for over 1,000 years, the people who built it decided to close it. But they didn't just walk away. They deliberately, painstakingly buried it. They hauled thousands of tons of earth, rubble, and limestone chips up the hill and filled in the enclosures. They covered their gods and their sculptures, sealing them in a man-made mountain. This act is the only reason the site is so well preserved today. It was protected by the soil. Why would a culture spend decades building a masterpiece only to erase it from the face of the earth? Was it an act of protection? Did the religion change, making the old gods taboo? Or was it a closure ritual, signifying that the temple had served its purpose? There is also a darker theory, connected to the Younger Dryas period. This was a time of cataclysmic climate change, involving rapid cooling and potential comet impacts that devastated the northern hemisphere. Some interpretations of the vulture stone, Pillar 43, at Gobekli Tepe, suggest it might be a record of a catastrophic event, a memorial to a comet strike that nearly wiped out humanity. Is Gobekli Tepe a warning left in stone for future generations? Today, less than 5% of the site has been excavated. Ground-penetrating radar indicates that there are at least 20 more circles lying underground, waiting to be uncovered. We are only scratching the surface of this anomaly. The implications of Gobekli Tepe are uncomfortable for traditional academics. It suggests that human history is not a slow, steady climb from stupidity to intelligence. It suggests that we had moments of brilliance, organization, and high culture long before we should have. It hints at a lost chapter of human capability that was forgotten during the millennia that followed. When we look at the Sphinx in Egypt, we wonder at the erosion patterns that suggest heavy rainfall that only existed in Egypt thousands of years before the pharaohs. When we look at the precision of megalithic walls in Peru, we struggle to slide a piece of paper between the stones. Gobekli Tepe provides the context for these anomalies. It proves that ancient humans were not just surviving. They were engineering. They were abstract thinkers. They were capable of colossal feats of labor and faith. As the excavation continues, we must be prepared for the possibility that the story of human civilization is much older and much more complex than we ever dared to imagine. The stones on that Turkish hill are speaking to us, and they are telling us that we have forgotten who we really are. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video, learned something new, or simply want to see more content like this, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps the channel grow and reach more people. And if you have thoughts or ideas you'd like to share, feel free to leave a comment. I'd love to hear from you. See you in the next video.